Okay, it's recording. Hi, Sophie. So, you are my first guest on this series that I want to do called Second Innings. And the objective of this thing is to, tap into uh, the experiences of people who have shifted careers, who had one particular career at some point of time and then they have shifted later on,
Hmm.
and how that transition was and how's the journey been. That's where I want to take this discussion to. And
Okay.
for all the viewers, I would like to introduce Dr. Sophia D'Souza. She's a MD in preventive and social medicine from Bombay University, and has more than 20 years of academic career with her in preventive and social medicine. And then she then shifted her journey. She's a clinical hypnotherapist from institute eka institute, and a gold medalist in transpersonal regression from tasso institute netherlands. And apart from that, she is also a facilitator and a coach in the law of attraction, and sound healer, reiki practitioner, tarot reader, and she's the currently she's the founder director of Miracle Tattva and co-founder of IceMam, which is a very unique conference. And I would like to ask you about that a little bit later. But I'll start with my very first question is, how just in brief, explain to me your career trajectory. Like, how did it start, and when did you and how did you think of shifting?
I think my career started as soon as I was, or the trajectory started the moment I became aware of the fact that I had to become something in life. You know, you have kids, I mean, kids, when you ask them, what do you want to be? So, as kids, I've seen kids change their whatever you call it, ambition, or whatever. You know. Today you want to be a doctor, tomorrow you want to be a scientist, and the after tomorrow you want to go to the moon and or a beauty pageant winner or something. But as far as I was concerned, I just had one agenda. I've never shifted, and that was I wanted to be a doctor. Why I wanted to be a doctor, I don't know. I mean, that point of time, there was a whole idealistic thing of, I want to heal everyone, cure everyone. I don't want anybody to suffer and that kind of thing. So I think that was a one point agenda in my life as to what I wanted to become, and I did that. And it was nice. It felt nice. Uh, I didn't realize sorry, just give me 1 minute of silent mind. I didn't realize when I started becoming a little disillusioned with medicine. So I got into my MBBS, did my MD. And I think it was immediately after my MBBS that I started a small clinic because I wasn't sure that I wanted to do PSM. People said, no, no, PSM, don't do. It's not so nice. And I was very keen. So I think I took a 3 years, yeah, 3 years break. And in that, I set up my general practice. And what I realized was I I can take as much as I want time, right? Or are
Yes,
we?
yes, please.
Okay. So what I realized was, of course, it's in a setup, and then you have same patients coming to you again and again. And I realized that I used to get irritated if the same patient used to come to me with the same complaints, which is weird. And when I used to see the patient coming, I said, "Oh my God, not again." I would tell them, "Come with a different problem, right?" Okay, how much can I tell you? You have acidity. I'll give you medicines, and what else will I tell you? Don't eat this, don't eat that, eat on time, drink water. And after two or three times, my entire what I have to gyan I have to give is over. And they still come the fourth time. Now I'm stuck. I had friends who told me, like, you should be happy you're getting patients, right? Follow up hai,
Patient.
matlab, but somehow it didn't feel right. I realized later on what I felt at that point of time is I'm not making a difference.
Difference.
I'm just giving them some band-aid treatment. makes them feel nice for a couple of days, and then they come back with the question which I didn't realize why I wasn't irritated with them. I think I was more irritated with myself, or I was not happy with myself and what I was doing. The fact that I'm not making any difference in their life. So what is my role here? But at that point of time, that awareness wasn't there. Then I got into MBPS and I got into lecturership. And you know how it is when you become a lecturer, you become an associate professor. As you grow in the hierarchy, then the patients are seen. I used to love the OPDs at Dharavi and all. Loved the OPDs there. I loved seeing patients. Because there would be new patients and I felt I was making a difference. But when I was shifted, when I was posted at Malavani Open Health Center, again that became a known. You have known people coming if you're there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize when I I stopped seeing patients. So your OPDs are handled by interns, your
Yeah,
residents, junior residents, junior lecturers, and they would get cases to
getting
me
more
with
administrative responsibilities, right?
responsibilities. Yes,
Yeah.
and it was one fine day. It was very shocking for me to realize that I didn't want to see patients for a girl whose only role, I mean, whose only that goal or desire in life was to become a doctor to heal people so that people don't suffer, and to a point that I'm coming to a point where I don't want to see patients anymore, or it was sudden that awareness came, and it was an eye opener. And alongside, of course, I was going through some stuff of my own to which I didn't have any logical answers in my personal life, and I got into I had or how do you say that? I took a past life regression therapy from one of the therapists at that point of time, and I was very kicked about the whole process, and I wanted to learn this. I have to learn, kind of. God, this is amazing. And I got into hypnotherapy just for that because I wanted to learn past life regression therapy. That time there was no clue that I will change, I will shift. And then I got into EKA, and EKA, that whole thing changed my life completely. Now I was seeing that I'm reaching the core, and that was very satisfying. That was really very, very, how do you say, वो दिल को सुकून मिलता है. So yeah, that is what keeps me going in this field. And when I realize that, it's not that I feel that medicine is not, allopathy is not important, or it has its place. It definitely has its place. But my pace was not there. My pace slowly, it shifted to year till, and then there was this inner turmoil that I had to give up my job because I couldn't do it anymore. It was, I honestly, there was nothing, and it was a very easy job. I had a good support system. Money was good. I was teaching, which is like my prime. Everything was good about the job, but I just wasn't happy. And yeah, that is when I kind of shifted here.
Yeah. And okay, so one question was, why so many modalities? Like, if you liked hypnotherapy and then you did hypnotherapy, then why the branching into? I know, like, because I keep once you start on this journey, you start having that. At least for me, it's like that. It's like I want to learn a bit more of this, a bit more of that. So I just want to know from you, ki, what was your thing? Why so many modalities?
Yeah, so first I went with hypno, and it was amazing. It was like absolutely mind-boggling, eye-opening, and crazy, crazy amazing it was. Uh, over as you start practicing, or as I started practicing, I realized there were certain clients on whom hypno wouldn't work. Like with hypnotherapy, you need to have a willing client, a client who can get into a trance. Of course, hypno has its own ways of getting into a trance with people who are not really, how do you say, highly suggestible and things like that. But I had some people, kids you have very elderly people, you have people who are, you know, maybe debilitated or whatever, or some people who with whom hypno was not working as well as I would have expected it. So that is how then access consciousness came. So then I learned access consciousness. That started working, and then you want to learn more and more about different modalities which can help people and which work in different ways. So I think it everything suddenly happened one after the other, one after the other, and what I see now is I use different modalities for different people,
Mm.
and what works for one need not work for another. Like
True.
generally, I have clients with who are I won't label them as a ADHD, but who are overthinkers, highly
Mm-hmm.
anxious people, overthinking, whose minds can't stop, functioning. How much ever
Mm-hmm.
they try, they've tried meditations and things like that. Then I don't try hypno much for them. Then I get them into sound. The sound works
Mm-hmm.
magically for them. Magic, it works
Okay.
like magic for them. Of course, so from there I get them to a point from where I can maybe start hypno later on. But that or access works with changing points of views of people. There are some clients who swear by access. They will come for a
We
access
missed
bar
out
show.
access bars on your
Yeah.
introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're an access bar practitioner also.
And a facilitator, yes.
Yes. Yes.
So that is because it's like not one pill fits the bill. It's that kind of thing. What you never know what works for one doesn't work for another. For some people, just crystals, they'll be very happy wearing crystals, and everything will be all right with them. And for others, like it different things work. So yeah.
That's nice. And so when like we all know that when we are doing these conventional jobs, like you had a very good career, 20 years of experience in as an academic, uh, you were an associate professor in a good medical college, and it becomes a little challenging to actually make that shift, right? To say that I won't do this anymore and I will be doing only something else. So what were the reasons for you to shift from one to another? I understand that you were feeling more comfortable here, or rather you felt more energy in exploring this space, but to shift from one to another totally, like with
Yeah.
respect to, yeah.
It
So
was
what were the
not easy,
reasons that you
and
took that shift?
it was not easy, and it didn't happen overnight. I mean, I can't say that, okay, fine, one fine day I woke up and I said, okay, I'm giving up my job. And
True.
it wasn't that. It went over a period of 4 years, I think, that it
Okay.
started. That, beach me, I would get this sudden burst. Oh, no, I don't want to go to work. And then I would get back because, it's like a stable job, it's a good job, and people would tell me, "You're so lucky to have a job like that," and why are you thinking of giving up on that? And close people, because of course they're concerned about me, and like I have been in a job which at the end of the month, you're going to get your salary in your
Yeah,
account, and you're not
salary.
really bothered about it.
Everything like respect, the money,
Really?
the respect, and you had a job which had good time. The balance was good,
Oh, it was
with respect to
perfect.
timing and everything.
Yeah, yeah. I had a good 9 to 4 job. Very few calls after that. So I never wanted like a job where or a profession where I would 24/7 be uh, a doctor or something like that. I wanted my house, my space, my domestic space, my personal space, which this job was giving me. It was giving me a lot of respect. I mean, you tell people you're a doctor in a municipal hospital, or you're an associate professor in a college, and it gave you like, okay, that instant respect. I had students. That was the best part. There was learning happening, constant learning happening. because when you are among the youth, they push you to learn more and more. So you keep up with what is happening. So that was very much. I mean, that was one criteria with which kind of held me back. The pay, I knew I would be able to somehow. It would be difficult, but I would somehow be able to manage. The respect I would somehow be able to manage. But this part, the students, the youth, they keep you young. They push you to learn more. And in a college setup, you are always striving to learn the different programs which are happening. You keep on hearing of different advances. This is what was my main dilemma. That is what was holding me back. So yes, over 4 or 5 years, I think this happened, and I would tell my in every 3 4 months there would be a call from me to my hypno mentor and tell him, sir, नहीं करना है, बस हो गया. And he would give me 1 or 2 exercises to do, and that would settle down because maybe it wasn't time. And then I think when I went into law of attraction, but it was very, I felt very stagnated at that place. Uh, it was weird because there was nothing wrong with the job. Nothing. It was one of the best jobs anybody could have. But even despite having the best job, when you're getting up in the morning and you're saying to yourself, "Oh my God, I have to go to work," that was that kind of shook me up. This it shouldn't be with anybody. And however good a job, maybe it wasn't for me. And I think once I had made up my mind, it took me a year. By that time, I was doing my law of attraction. I was in training for becoming a coach and a workshop facilitator, and I had my mentor there who asked me to chalk out a 6 month plan, okay, with regards to my money, with regards to my finances, how I'm going about it. And I think I used all the tools which I had to ease out of the job. Is easier. So yeah, it wasn't overnight.
Mhm. Yeah, it was not overnight. See, that's how, because most of the times when we see people successful, we tend to see, you know,
Just the
what they
shift.
have become. We never understand the journey that it would have taken. It's so nice that you said that even
And
that shift took 4 years. Like, it's not like one fine day it just decided, and it's never like that.
and even after that, no, Kavita. I mean, after I shifted, also, it's not been easy. It's it looks it looks nice, but almost now it's been it'll be 3 years since I left my job. I think it's now that I've come to a stability after 3 years of. It's been, I won't say it's a struggle. It's been fun because I love doing this.
Yeah.
I really enjoy doing this, but I won't say that, okay, I moved out of my job and now, okay, everything is fine. I have had to put in a lot of work. So when I see, I hardly put in any work in my job, okay, and I was still unhappy. Here I'm putting in sometimes maybe I don't know. I work at 2 a.m. in the night also, and I've been awake at 6 o'clock in the morning taking clients, but it's fun. But that doesn't mean there's no work. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of how do you say you I don't want to call it a struggle, but yes, you wonder if uh, things are going to be okay. I've never regretted medicine. I've never even thought that, maybe I shouldn't have done that. It's never, not even once that thought has come to my mind because I'm convinced about what I'm doing. But there are days when you say, oh my God, it's, it's not
Yeah.
working.
And for others, like, uh, I always had this aspiration or this journey through in personal development. Like, I'd been reading a lot of books and everything since, like, I don't know, 2000, around 2000 it started, kind of thing. And when I met you after 20 years in 2021, it was like I didn't realize that there was something we could something can be pursued in this direction also. I just didn't know. It was like my mind just didn't know that. And the moment I met you after 20 years, like we have not been in touch for for so many years after my MD. Just for others to know, Sophie has been my senior in my when I was doing my MD. And
Yeah.
so after 20-25 years, I think so, I met you. And then it was like, oh, this is also a path. And it was such a thing, eye opener for me. It's like, okay, and so you have like shown me that this is a possibility. And then from there, I know your journey from there on. So yeah, thank you for showing this is a possibility. It's not, it was always there maybe, but I just didn't
And
know, my mind didn't know.
I'm glad that I don't know. I think I'm just walking my path and doing what makes me happy.
Yeah. And okay, so the next thing I wanted to ask you was basically how many years did you give yourself before you jumped in as a full time coach or a full time in your new career? And you already said it was almost 4 years, right? And
It's 3 4 years at least. Like the initial time, I would say around 2 years when I seriously started considering. Initially it comes at and you feel like it's a phase, no? ठीक है phase आता है जाता है because it came in waves. That whole thing about I want to do this. It comes in waves because you see the positive aspects. You have your family. You have your domestic issues. You want things settled also. So for me to take that leap of faith, it took me a good 2 years after realizing that no, I have to do this. But even after that, when I realized that this is not just a phase and it will go away kind of thing, it took me a good 2 years to actually take that leap of faith and say, no, I'm doing this.
and was there any period where you were doing both?
So
Both,
I,
like you were
yeah,
working then also, and you were doing, trying to a learning part, yes, I understand, but also trying to work for the the
yeah.
new
So the
position.
thing is, so I started learning in 2015. My first hypno level happened in October 2015, almost 2016. And I finished in 2017. And then we had to submit, we had a year of internship where we had to submit cases and all. So I used to offer pro bono sessions for my students at that point of time. And that was work. And so it would mostly be free sessions, which I would do for even for clients because I wanted the experience of it. I wanted case submissions, and which they were told that there would be. Then I did a study on my students about impact of hypnosis on or hypnoidal techniques on exam anxiety. So then there were a lot of students. So it was fun because then I got to know a lot of students, and there was that camaraderie between the students, and I was like the fun teacher and so that was it was all timed very well because by then I had shifted to Cooper, which was a new college. Um, I did try to conduct workshops and do it together for uh, maybe a year or so because by that time I was allowed to practice anything that I wanted. I mean, you are allowed practice after a certain period of time, which I was allowed to, but um, I I didn't feel I was doing justice to my other field, and so it didn't really work out well. I mean, many people because what happened was I if I had put in 7 more years in my job, I would have been eligible for pension, and so many of my loved ones, my mom especially, she'll say, how the previous generation is about pension, and she's a pensioner, and she knows the value and importance of pension. So she would push me, "Sat sali hai, kar lena. What is there?" It will go like that, in a jiffy. And she says you can do side by side. You don't have to completely give that up or this up. Do side by side. Weekends you do this. I tried. And then when one fine day when she said it's only 7 years, and I said I can't stay here for more than 7 days also. So 7 साल तो बहुत दूर की बात है. So I had tried, but I wasn't happy either ways.
And when you were making this double effort, this and that, at least even when you were doing the pro bono sessions, what resources did you think, both internal and external, especially with related to mindset, and also any changes or any support in your environment, physical environment? How was it like, and what was that journey like?
So the good part was that I had shifted to Cooper Hospital or Cooper Medical College at that point of time that it was called, and it was a small setup. So everyone knows everyone, and there was a good bonding between the staff and the doctors and all. We all knew each other. And surprisingly, I found, although people wouldn't understand what is hypnotherapy and all, they didn't kind of dismiss me.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me a year. I mean, when I went to the ethics committee for my ethics approval for
For
conducting
your
the
study.
study, it was a
Mm-hmm.
trial. It was a preventive trial, so RCT kind of thing. So they they gave me an hour, asked me. I was so surprised, because I had expected them to kind of laugh at me. कि ये क्या what nonsense is this? But despite the fact that I know they didn't agree to what I was saying, okay, they couldn't fathom. But I remember I spent an hour in the ethics committee, which others like 15 minutes में हो जाता है. They questioned me, re-questioned, and that was nice. It felt nice that they are not completely discarding this. They want to know more whether. So that was one thing I had. Nobody disregarded it. They didn't understand it, but they took me seriously. Okay, if she's doing it, it must be something. So I had that. I had for doing the pro bono thing. I had this students. How do you say? Cohort of students who were
Mm-hmm.
so comfortable with me. They trusted me, and then I started having so many cases. And I had coordinated. We had connected with the psychiatry department also, because what came up in my study was showed almost 30% of the students those who were participating in the study had suicidal thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
30% is huge,
Huge.
and almost 10% had really bad. So then the whole study was uh, in coordination with the psychiatry department, which again I had a lot of support from Dr. Sujay. He really was a very young fellow at that point of time, just joined, but very much keen on this whole
Learning about it.
collaboration between
Yeah.
psychiatry and hypnotherapy. Didn't I have had people, okay, outside who had, when I told them, I have psychiatrists who, when I told them I was doing hypno, they looked at me as if I was a quack or something. So I had people outside like that also. But here in the psych department, really a lot of support. After Sujay, there was Dr. Ami Pawar, who was again very strong in, believing that there is so much more to mental health than just psychiatry and medicines. So yes, I had a good group of people supporting me. I had my family to support me, although at that point of time they were not very, happy with me doing something else. But I didn't tell them much any which ways. So they knew I was doing something. But yes, I had their support, and I had the support of a lot of my colleagues from this fraternity, from the hypnotherapy fraternity. Good solid support there. And my teachers, my hypnotherapy teacher, I can't fail to mention Yuvraj Kapadia has been my mentor guide, and he's really seen me through this. And yeah, internally, I think the one thing that I would place above all else, if I can say, is my belief in my gut, my instinct. It's taken some time to develop that, but I think that is my best resource. And the whole thing about the fact that I never give up, my resilience is something which
And it's so uncanny that now you ended with this, because my next question was, what did you believe about yourself that you could successfully do this transition? Like, what was it? Did you ever have any doubts? um, Doubts in the sense that, I what if it's not successful, what if I'm throwing away my set career? And or how did your mindset, and you have already worked so long, like 4 years with hypnotherapy. There is a lot of internal work that goes on, right, even before you become a coach, and a lot many things get sorted out over there. So how did so what kind of belief systems had you developed that you could do this transition successfully?
so I think the one thing is that my the fact that I trust my gut.
Mm-hmm.
In childhood, you would call it faith, and faith in the divine, and that uh, this thing always stayed with me that faith is doesn't mean that uh, you know um, you're not sure about the next step, and faith is the fact that you don't see a step there, and you still put your foot forward, knowing that it's still there. That is what in childhood I had learned the whole concept of faith, and I yeah, I think it's the whole thing about trusting my gut rather than what I see. So many times what I see physically is doesn't go with what my gut, my instinct tells me. But I've learned sometimes the hard way that I need to go with my instinct. And this whole thing about I don't give up generally on things. It will take me a lot of time, but maybe that is how I'm wired. I can't take credit for it, but that is how I am. So I don't do anything for it. Another thing I think which helps me is the fact that I know I need to work on myself every day. Or so even now, I do take therapies for myself. I do my inner work, and that is something which I feel everyone should do. When I have clients who come to me first time and they ask me how many sessions it's going to take, and I feel like telling them, boss, the work never ends because
True.
all you, especially I think our generation, we've been raised with such strong programs, beliefs that they keep surfacing up. Something or the other keeps on coming up. It's become easier. First 2 years when I began the inner work, it was, and it's true for everyone. 2.5 years are very difficult because there's so much of change happening. Afterwards, kind of you begin to realize that you begin to identify the signs. Acha, this is what is happening. Let's do something. So even now, the work, inner work continues, and as a law of
No, it
attraction,
doesn't stop.
it doesn't
It
stop. And
never
as a law
doesn't
of
stop.
and as law of
एक
attraction tells,
जगह निकलता रहता है.
the work is never outside. The
It's
work
always
is always inside. And when you do your inner work, the outer things become more easy. So life is become very easy. Yes, I do have my phases of dark phases, ups and downs, but overall it's nice. The journey has been good.
And any particular challenges did you think you faced, or uh, or it was smooth? I
The,
don't think it
the,
was smooth, but what kind of challenges was it?
the biggest challenge I think was with regards to my finances. I'll be very honest. So when what happens is when you are used to a fixed kind of financial pattern. Okay. Okay. At, on the first of every month, I'm going to get an X amount.
Get this much, yeah.
Okay. And I have to manage within this X amount till the 31st or 30th of the month. This much goes. So that is the way I have been living for ever.
Yes.
Like right from the time I started earning, even your internship ka the peanuts that you get in internship. and residency. Even from that time, that is how I have been functioning. Uh, Not to say that I didn't have money, okay, but that shift for me was very difficult from from that fixed income thing to daily
Thoughts.
wage worker.
Yes, true.
So that was the challenge. It wasn't that money was not coming. Money would come, but I didn't know how to manage it, how to handle it. It took me a lot of time to make that transition. कि आज 10,000 आया है, कल 2 दिन और कुछ नहीं आएगा शायद, परसों
Mm-hmm.
20,000 आएगा, that kind of thing. So for me to get adjusted and accommodate to that was difficult. It still is. It's still
Mm-hmm.
taking its time for me. I've not yet fully adjusted. It's so many years of programming, no, to that.
True.
So finances were an issue in terms of I had to dip into my savings in the initial years, 1 year, 1.5 years, and which was like, oh my God, this is supposed to be a retirement fund, and what are you doing? But at that point of time, I one more thing which I want to tell Kavita, which influenced my decision quite a lot was COVID happened,
Mm-hmm.
and in COVID that that really made me change my pushed me into this because in COVID I saw very young colleagues pass away, very young relatives. They are there one day hale and hearty. They wouldn't even have imagined that they won't be leading long lives, and that shook me up, that I lost cousins who were as old as me. I lost colleagues suddenly who were as old as me. And that shook me up, saying that tomorrow is so uncertain. There was a time I was contemplating कि क्या 7 साल ही है यार करते हैं let's get pension, and then I said, what pension, what if I'm not alive to enjoy the pension? I let me enjoy because tomorrow is so it brought about that whole uncertainty. And even with you know with regards to money, that whole thing was I'm dipping into my retirement fund, and the whole thing was you might not be there till your retirement. Look at how people are dying around you. You be happy, do things that make you happy, and enjoy what you have earned at least. So there, that whole balance came about, But yes, finances were an issue for me. It's not like they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, financial challenge was the biggest that you think
yeah,
of. Okay.
yeah, it was.
And okay, what kind of support, like, did you expect, and what was the support that you actually got? How was the delta, or did you expect or not expect, and that whole thing?
I don't know about expectations, but I had a lot of support in all areas of my life during. So I have noticed people come in, they are there with me for that much period of time as I need them, and they ease out. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
ease out in the sense there are no fights or conflicts, and there is separation. So I've seen people come in when I needed them the most, and then somehow slowly it phased off, and they move off, and then someone else comes in for that much period of time. So I would rate my how do you say my women tribe around me as a huge support system. I've got this whole tribe of women who who are there for me. Okay, one of them being you, and this solid support system. I mean, I might not meet them every day, and there are some I meet every day and talk to them every day, but lot of support from them right from when I started this journey. It's personally also it's not been an easy journey, but I've had I mean when I was going through very rough phases in life, there would be women whom I would call up and they would talk to me for hours. Hours I would talk to them and they would be there talking back, listening, sharing. So my whatever what you call it, my tribe of soul sisters, I guess. From the women I've
That
received a
is
lot of
very important, right? Many of the times we start leading such individualistic lives that we don't understand or we don't even think about, you know, this kind of support, but then these support really matter.
Yeah, they are there. Yeah, yeah. And it's there. You sometimes, you just need to be vulnerable and reach out, and you find that support system, which is needed.
Was it easy for you to reach out?
It, it was. It still is.
That's nice. And okay, hypothetical question. Like if I would come to you today and say that I want to do this, like whatever you have done, or do this journey, so what learnings would you transfer to me so that my journey would be a bit easier than yours, or smoother? I won't say easier, smoother.
I don't think my journey has been smooth. I have not no major ups and downs. Of course, all learnings. But the one thing which I would say is follow your gut. Don't follow what I'm doing. We all have unique journeys and unique experiences. So even if it looks the same, like even if you have two healers or you have two people who are in this field, it's it's not the same. You have different resources, you have different blocks, you have different programs, and that makes your journey unique. So always it is about following your gut and you know, being yourself. And one thing is always do what makes you happy. I think that has been my how do you say, my tagline.
Mantra.
Do what makes you happy.
And okay, when you had to do the transition, what was
Can
your
I,
state of mind like?
can I add one more thing in which
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
will say is that, and this is something I learned from my mentor in my level 5. So he would always say that, never be fearful of destroying what you have created.
Mm, very good.
And that got to me. He said, it's like a Lego puzzle. Unless you break it down, you can't
You can't
create
make a new
something.
one.
So never be afraid of breaking down what you have created. And I have lived by that. Tomorrow, if I have to break this down and move over to something else, I will be ready for that. That was a huge thing for me.
And but, I'm kind of more focusing on your decision points, because that is where I find a lot of people, having that whole kashmakash, how that thing. So what gave you the certainty in taking that decision?
Sorry.
I said, what gave you
Certainty,
certainty in taking the decision, apart from following your gut that you have mentioned? So
the
anything
fact
else?
that, see, when you say that, do what makes you happy. If I wasn't happy going to a place, and it wasn't like a one-off thing, okay, today I don't feel like going, okay, I'm resting. If it's every day, if every day I have to drag myself out of bed and I am not happy when I get out of bed just because I have to go to work, then that is not the kind of life I want to live. Like I said, these two, three mantras have ruled my life. Do what makes you happy. And even if, and it can change, what makes you happy yesterday need not make you happy today.
Today, yes.
So I was very
Yeah.
happy at one point of time when I got the job. I was very happy in the job. I wasn't after a certain point of time. So I have to move.
And you were very good at it. So yeah, it's not that you were not good at it. You were like very good at it, right? So
I
that's what.
loved my job. I loved teaching. I
Yes.
loved being with students. I love that. But that is what no that is what I saw in, and when I left my job, people say, "Oh, madam, you have guts." तुमच्यामध्ये guts आहेत. BMC नोकरी सोडा.
You're very strong.
Because people get so stuck by what they have created, and they get so invested that they don't see something better is there for them. So this image, I also tell it about it in my workshops, there is this meme or an image of like Jesus Christ and a small child. Okay, so this child is holding a small teddy bear in his hand. Okay, and Jesus Christ is there in front of this child, asking for the teddy bear by one hand, and in the other hand, behind his back, he's holding a bigger teddy bear, huge
Bigger
one.
one. Okay.
So this child is holding on. That's all the image is. But it says that sometimes
Yeah.
you have to give that up to receive, which I saw with the corporate, not corporate, the corporation, BMC and all that was people were so caught up in the whole stability of their job and that comfort which comes in that stability. But you don't want to get out of your comfort zone. So, yeah. I don't know if I've answered your question. I went off on a tangent, I think.
No, 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 no. All I got answers for myself also, and for so many, you know, hopefully for others also. And okay, so like we all have needs, right? Our internal needs. So, what needs of yours do you think were not being met in your earlier job, or uh, you see a very drastic difference on when you shifted? Do you think there was something like that?
One thing is you have to follow dictum there. Of course, that is how it's a huge beast, right? It's a huge
A system
structure.
has to work, so you'll have to.
System has to, so you and I felt my creativity very stifled when I have to do things in a certain way, and I know I can do things in a different way. I'm not saying a better way. So that was very suffocating for me. Secondly, there was a lot of stagnation. There was no growth. There was nothing new I was learning. And whereas here, there was constant learning, something new coming up, new showing up, and it was amazing. It was like, oh my, oh wow, that whole thing. So many aha moments, and that was it. I felt very stagnated. I was teaching the same topics for 20 years, and that got to me. I mean, there was that started initially. It felt fun. You explore, you find new ways of doing the topic, and I had found new ways of teaching in terms of different PPTs, and there would be games in the class and a little bit of fun and that kind of thing. But after a period of time, there I couldn't do. It was the same topic. I was just teaching the same thing. I was teaching Park for 20 years. It got, it got to me. I wanted something new. I wanted to do something new, and of course, then there's the politics, which doesn't allow you to. But that wasn't much of an issue. I had a good run. So, yeah, there's two things I think. One is the creativity being stifled, and the second is the stagnation.
And with respect to purpose, do you think it has changed or evolved over the years in shifting of your careers? Has it changed, or is it the main meta goal is the same and you have just found another way to do it or something like
It initially was that, like, this whole thing about helping people with as a child, the whole idealistic thing, you want to save the world, save the planet kind of thing. And with this, of course, I found what drew me to this, I was making a difference in people's lives. But along the way, somewhere along the way, that is no longer the agenda. The agenda is me right now. It has shifted, changed completely. The focus is me, my growth, my evolvement, my what I need to do. It's all me. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. It's not like a very selfish kind of way, but whatever happens outside, the immediate focus is it moves inside to understand what in me is creating that outside. and
that
how
I'm
can I,
experiencing.
yeah, and how can I create something better for me to experience. So
True.
even if, like, I have relationships which are not working, friendships,
Mhm.
colleagues, relationships, the entire focus would be what can I do to make this better. So, like, that is what, if things are not working for my client, it's what can I do to, how can I be of contribution so that, things are better for it. It's not that what can, it's different. I don't know how am I putting
Mm.
it. Right? So the focus is now my growth, my evolution, my healing. I don't want to heal the world. Oh yeah, I want to heal myself, and I think in healing myself, the world gets healed one person at a time.
1% at a time. Yes. And something came up when you were saying, and I forgot. Huh. Uh, I want to just open it for you to share about what is ice, ma'am, and how did Miracle Tattva happen?
Oh, Ice Ma'am is something very close to my heart. So, as hypnotherapists and me being in PSM and research and all that, so I'd done the study, and there were a lot of other studies that I was planning on undertaking at that point of time, being in the ethics committee and all. So the study got completed of mine, and I wanted to either publish it or present it in some conference.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this conference of psychology in Gujarat, and there they had kept a half a day slot for hypnotherapists to present their cases or alternative medicine, like sound and everything like that. So it was hosted by one of uh, the hypnotherapists, senior hypnotherapists in the group. He was attached to a psychology college, and so he had made that slot available. And it was just in Gujarat and Mumbai, Gujarat. How far is it? So me and my friend, we decided to go. She had her two cases of diabetes reversal. So we decided to go, and we went there. We enjoyed ourselves, but we found here, we are treated like second grade citizens here. This is of course psychological conference there, 4 days ka conference. So we were given half a time, and it was just like accommodating us somehow or the other, that kind of thing. So then we said, नहीं नहीं हमारा भी conference चाहिए, hypnotherapist का conference चाहिए. So we had approached Eka, sir, please, let's have a conference. And it was, हाँ हाँ करते हैं, yes, no, yes, no. After 1 year, I don't know what got into us. We said, जाने दे, we only will do it. Let's do it. It was crazy. I mean, if we now think about it, just two women,
Mm.
okay, absolutely, sorry, I shouldn't be swearing in this. Stupid. How can you plan an international conference or calling international speakers? And but somehow we were crazy, I think, at that point of time. I mean, maybe we were drunk. We don't drink, but we were crazy, and we decided to cut them. But it just flowed so beautifully. Everything fell into place. The speakers, and with minimal effort in 3 months, August we
Mhm.
decided to have the conference. August and September, October, November. November, the conference, or October end, the conference happened. We found sponsors, we found speakers, we found the best is we found a event management company who did it for us for free.
Mhm.
Okay, and we said,
Nice.
and they did everything. I mean, when we saw the first day that and I am telling my partner, I have hosted conferences. Okay, so I have a lot of students who can come and help me. To do some work and things like that. We didn't need anyone, the event management company. We just had to go on. And on the day we went to the conference hall, of course, there was a lot of coordination, lot of work, mental work that we did. But it was so easy, and we were so shocked to see the whole, oh my God, this is actually happening. And that was the first conference where we had speakers coming from outside, we had participants coming from outside. Um and It's the International Conference on Energy Medicine
Energy
and
and medicine,
Alternative Healing Modalities.
modalities. Yeah.
So me and my partner Deepa Thakur, so we were shocked at what we had created because we hadn't created it. It had just
And
created
this is
itself.
your third year, right?
No, no,
2024 will be your fourth year. No,
fourth year.
fourth
It
year.
will be our fourth year. And it's been an amazing journey. The conference called so many modalities. So we've covered up. So we decided to cover different. The whole plan was, like people think this is all mumbo jumbo. We
Mm-hmm.
want them to know that there's a science behind the subject. There is energy medicine, and now with the advancement in the quantum physics and quantum fields and all,
Yeah.
it's making so much sense. Like you just play a bowl and you heal. I mean, how does it happen? You tell somebody you play a bartan bajao or public guest. But there's a science, and we wanted people to know that there are so many modalities and there's a science behind every modality. So we have called different people from different modalities. So obviously, we have covered hypno, we have covered regression therapy, sound healing, music therapy, we have covered graphotherapy, we have covered Akashic records, law of attraction, lots of stuff. We have covered body movement for release, for healing, dance as a therapy for healing, dance therapy as we call it, a lot of stuff. And it's amazing. And as we formed, I think Iceman first came, and then me and Deepa kind of we realized we were good working together also, rather than just being friends. And now it will be our third, and 1st of July will be our third anniversary of our
Acha, for
foundation
miracle.
day
Yeah,
for the
miracle.
circle. Yes, the
That's
third
nice.
time. So, yes, third, yes. That is how the miracle tattva came into being. So, there also we uh, have two different setups. One is where we conduct uh, physical healing programs, uh, retreats, how to heal yourself, and the other is where we conduct workshops to
Mhm.
train people in these modalities. So it's been fun.
Nice. And it's been fun listening to your journey also, because I knew parts of it, but never as a whole. We never, talked about it as a
Yeah.
whole. And this is nice. And yeah, thank you for sharing the journey. And thank you, because so many points. I'll listen back to it, and I know there are quite a few things which is going to help me in my own, my own journey, definitely.
Wow.
And thank you.
Thanks, Kavita. Thank you for having me here. It's amazing. It's fun reminiscing, how what you've gone through. But
Yeah,
like I said, it's been nice. It's been fun. God's grace.
it's just a snapshot of such a big journey, such a long journey in say an hour. Not discounting on that.
Yes. So thank
Yeah.
you so much. God
Thank
bless.
you. Yeah.
Bye.